Hey fellow beer lovers, it's Jeff coming at you once again from the greater Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and the outer suburbs and exurbs. And tonight we're going to be talking about Crazy Mountain Brewing Emotional Rescue Double IPA. Got this in a multi-pack with a lot of really interesting stuff. But you know what? I love me the occasional double IPA, which is double the hops of a regular IPA, which is already a load more hops than you expect from regular beers. So without any further ado, let's discuss this, okay? So I'm going to hold this up. You can see it's a golden, maybe a little bit of a honey appearance, and it's quite cloudy, full-bodied, you might say. And the head was moderate. It's got a fruity bouquet, again, what you might expect from a double IPA. It's got interesting notes. I'm trying to think what they are. Boy, the closest thing I can come to it, it's sweet. It smells a little bit like candy corn. And there's something else I'm catching, but I can't quite put a name to it. So let's go ahead and give it a taste, all right? Boy, it's quite complex. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's kind of a chemical taste. Still can't quite put my finger on it. I'll tell you what, this is a delicious beer. Even though I can't quite name the different complexities going on, but it's definitely complex. I'll tell you what, this is a challenge. You guys, go and try one of these. Again, it's an Emotional Rescue Double IPA by Crazy Mountain. And if you can't find it individually, see if you can find the multi-pack. It was a 12-pack with, I think, three or four different beers, probably maybe 4 different beers, 3 each, something like that. Anyway, it's got a dog on there, Emotional Rescue Double IPA. And so some of the things that you normally would consider when rating a beer that I don't always talk about, I want to touch on tonight, okay? You always want to talk about the appearance. You want to talk about the color as part of the appearance, and the head. And you want to talk about the flavor and the aroma. And those are the things that people talk about all the time. But you don't always hear people talk about the mouthfeel, and that's whether it's kind of thin and watery, or if it's thick and syrupy, or frothy, or some other characteristic. Usually your IPAs and double IPAs are a bit more syrupy from the extra hops. There's a slight syrupiness from it, but it's not exceptionally syrupy. It's pretty pretty thin otherwise. So, half and half. The other thing that we talk about is mouthfeel, which, I'm sorry, we just talked about mouthfeel. The other thing we talk about is the finish, okay? And that's just a nicer word for aftertaste. Aftertaste, it usually has negative connotations, and so when you're talking about it in benign or positive terms, you refer to the finish, okay? So let's see if I can comment on that. You know, sometimes the prominent flavors and maybe all the flavors of the beer are noticeable immediately. Sometimes it takes a few seconds after you've taken your sip, and sometimes it even takes a few seconds after you're done swallowing and thinking about it that it really hits you. In this, you know, I mean, anytime you got lots of extra hops in there, that's going to be a dominant flavor. But other than that, I'm not noticing any particularly long finish going on. But yeah, it's complex, tasty, double IPA, and I recommend that you try it out. This is one that I would enjoy, and I would try again. When it comes to certain favorite types of beers, within those favorite types, I've got my favorite brands and my favorite recipes. When it comes to IPAs, a couple of my all-time, well, three of my all-time favorites would be Zombie Dust, and which is by three. Can't think of the name of the guys, but they're quite famous for their recipes that are exceptional. Also, Let It Ride by Indeed, and then also Deschutes Fresh Squeezed, which is very, very good. But you know what? Even though I don't think that this rivals those, it's quite good. And there are things that are interesting about it that I think separates it out from all of the hundreds or thousands of double IPAs out there. So give it a try and see what you think. It might be your favorite. All right. Now you might be asking yourself, why is Geoff wearing a funky hat tonight? Well, for one thing, I've noticed that when I wear hats, I get more views. And so, you know, in the name of mixing things up a little bit, I decided to wear this. Not just because it's a hat, but because Minnesota winter has arrived. Yesterday we got quite a dusting of snow, and then it all froze really well. It was like, you know, 15 degrees, and it was so cold so quickly that everything froze such that you don't even see your footprints, which is unusual. Okay, so that's why I'm wearing this hat. It's to, I guess, mark the Minnesota winter here, and I'm really happy that it took this long to get here, because it's already December 6th, and you know, a couple days ago it was 50 degrees at 7:30 in the morning, which is exceptionally, unseasonably warm in a Minnesota December. So I'm not complaining. And for that matter, we didn't get so much snow that I actually had that I had to bust out the snowblower yet. So that's also good. Haven't had our inaugural snow blowing yet. All right, well, we're 9 minutes into this video. Now, last video, I promised you guys that we would be talking about coasters pretty soon. Now, I was introduced to beer coasters, the absorbent, you know, kind of cardboard kind, back in February of '89 when I arrived in Germany when I was in the Army. And we really didn't see these in the States at that time. Maybe there were some places that had them, but they were not prevalent at all. Now in Germany, everybody had them. and it was pretty cool. The waitresses, they would actually, they'd take your order, and your order was almost exclusively local, as in stuff that was brewed by that particular brew pub, and every corner almost had a brew pub that had been there for hundreds of years. This was in southern Germany, the the mecca of beers, of the beer world. And there I was. It was a great time to be getting to know beers. A great time, a great place. Now, which was before the American beer renaissance of the 90s and later, 80s, 90s, and beyond. But in Germany, they just referred to this as a Bierdeckel, okay, which means a beer cover, and that's because when you were done drinking for the evening, you'd go ahead and you'd take it and you'd put it on top of your glass. We got a round one here. You just put it on top of your glass, and that would let the server know that you were done. And each beer, they would write down the price, and they'd put an X. And for every beer that you had, they'd put another X. And then if you had a different beer at a different price, they'd write that price and they'd put X's by that. And that's how they kept track of your tab back before everybody had computers and before anybody cared. And it was efficient, and it was pretty cool. And you could take one home as a souvenir, and I have some of those. And I can bust those out on another occasion. But so you take your glass, put your Bierdeckel on top of that, and then they come and close you out. So that's why I call them Bierdeckels. It's covers. All right, now what I have here, these are all the beer coasters that I've collected stateside. Maybe a few from some other countries. These are all extras, okay? So I've got one each. Whenever I get a new one, I put it in my permanent collection. These are extras, and I keep them in my bar so I can use them or give them away. So let's take a look at a few of those. Let's see if I can get better lighting. Whoops. So we can get some better lighting for you. That's a line in Kugel. More line. Kona Brewing, and I got that in Honolulu a few years ago. Gordon Biersch, that was also their Honolulu brewery. I've got a few of these, so if some of you guys send me some fan mail, I'll send you some of these. They're in mint condition. Brooklyn Brewery. Now this is Hofbräu, Munich, of the famous Hofbräu House. And then this is La Crosse Lager, which I got in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Lift Bridge Brewing, which is here it's in Stillwater, Minnesota. Big Axe Brewing, here out of Brainerd, Minnesota, of the famous Brainerd Lakes. LTD Brewing out of Hopkins. You know, we've got something like 130 plus brew pubs here in the Twin Cities now, and it's a wonderful time to be checking them all out. August Shell Brewing. I believe they're the second oldest brewery in the country. And they're right here in Minnesota. SBG. Leinenkugels out of Wisconsin. Sam Adams out of Boston. Amstel. And I actually got this in Amsterdam back in 2008. And this is a spare. So if you are interested in getting, if you'd like to have that, let me know. Send me some fan mail that I can open up online here on the air. All right, let's see what else we got. Now this is, again, these are just my duplicates. So I've got a huge collection going back almost 30 years that I'll be showcasing soon. Bells of the famous Two-Hearted Ale. They also have a really good porter. Actually, they have a good vanilla porter that I would highly recommend you try. Okay, Warsteiner. And it says, Eine Königin unter den Bieren, which means a queen among beers. Udapol Amber. Star City Lager from Lafayette Brewing Company. Down there in my home away from home, Lafayette, Indiana. I lived there for 7 years back in the day, in the 90s. Brand beer. And that's all of what I have here. But like I said, I've got dozens and dozens more that I'll be happy to share with you at another sitting. Anyway, in the meantime, think about dropping me a line. If you want, just send me a postcard, all right? Or just a quick note in an envelope. Let me know what kind of beers you like. Let me know where you are and what you think of some of the reviews that we've done. If you'd like to mix things up, give me some ideas of what you think we should do. Do you want us to be dancing on the bar? Should we be shooting pool while we're sipping a beer? You know, should we be playing rap music? Should we be playing opera, some Wagner or something? Just let me know what it is you want, and we'll see if we can accommodate. All right. In the meantime, keep trying some good quality beers, and let me know what you think about them. All right. Cheers. And pretty soon it's gonna be Christmas, and then it'll be a Happy New Year. All good excuses to try some more good beers. Take it easy.